With all the bad things going on in the world today, it's nice to know that there are still some truly good people out there. Some of us would even call them saints. Glimmering hopes that society isn't as bad as what they tell us. I want to tell you the story of one such saint. His name is Rob Harrelson. Some of us call him Robbie, Pops, or even my personal favorite, Old Man. He may not look like much if you saw him at the store, dirty from working and dressed in shambles. But you see, there's a reason for this. He has devoted his life to work and to helping other people. He doesn't care about material possessions or what people think. He lives modestly, but has all he needs. All his time and energy goes into helping people and the community. It's not only that he is a good person, but what he has spent his time doing with his entire life that makes him so amazing. He owns the local recycling center in Lori. He and his boy Tyler run it. He's 78 years old and still works like a dog every day. His main passion in life is trying to help clean up the world from plastic. You see, the 78-year-old man spends a majority of his time at work recycling plastic for free. I know firsthand that plastic is worthless where we are at, and it's costing them more to recycle than they make from it. He does it strictly to try and help the world. They're a very small operation, yet he still devotes most of his time to plastic and trying to keep the world clean. I have watched him make huge 700-pound bale after 700-pound bale of plastic countless times, single-handedly keeping literal tons of plastic from the dumps or from polluting nature, all for no profit. But now they can't even find anywhere to take it anymore. So he's trying to find a solution to the plastic problem, when it seems no one else is. He also tries to recycle or reuse everything he touches. He has a trash hauling service and tries to reuse most of the stuff people consider trash. Even a lot of his wardrobe, furniture, tools, kitchen stuff, etc. all come from jobs that he was paid to throw away. But on his behalf, it's amazing what people consider trash and throw away. A lot of times it's new stuff even. He also gives as much as possible of the good stuff to people in need. His desire to help the planet and people is more than anyone I know of or even heard of. And this is just the tip of the iceberg of this man's story. He has driven his family on vacation to Costa Rica from Gravois Mills, Missouri, in an old beat-up truck. He coached local professional boxer bare-knuckle star Sam Shoemaker from Little League Baseball to Golden Gloves, and even helped him get in the bare-knuckle fighting championship. He has made some pretty cool rat rods and has a beautiful 49 Oldsmobile. It's a family heirloom and the only possession he really gives a care about. He has vacationed a lot of the world, his one splurge that he has now somehow managed to pay for by buying and selling license plates of the old places he visits to the new places he visits. It's genius, really. He has a Purple Heart from serving his country in Vietnam. He donates a lot of his time to helping the church, and he is always busy helping strangers and friends alike. He is the greatest family man I've ever seen, putting his family above everything else. But even after all those amazing accomplishments, I haven't told you of his greatest contribution to society. He coaches baseball. It may not sound like much to some of you, but it changed our world. He started coaching his son over 30 years ago. We eventually grew up and went out and did our own thing, but he kept coaching. He didn't even have a kid on the team for decades. He has devoted every spring, every year to coaching. He has literally helped change the lives of hundreds of kids. He is the greatest coach I've ever seen. Not in the sense of winning, because he will throw strategy right out the window in order to let every kid play every position, much to the parents' dismay. But he somehow makes it all work out, and much of the time, he ends up winning the championship. He has seen grand slams and blowouts, and he has suffered terrible losses, but he builds every kid up on the team, and only cares about making sure all the kids are having fun. He doesn't care who they are, or where they come from, or even how good they are. Every kid is equal, and he always somehow makes it work. He is hands down the best in the sense of giving the kids confidence and giving the kids a sport with something they love and can have fun with. Something to distract them from the TV or the patches kids go down when they get too bored. And for some kids, something to distract them from how bad things are. A lot of the local community in Gravois is impoverished. He uses baseball as a tool to help kids. It's more than just baseball he taught us. It's how to be a good human. And for some of us, he gave us hope. He goes above and beyond to make sure any kid that wants to play can play. He supports everything himself and makes it entirely free, even giving kids gloves and bats if needed. He'll give them rides and checks up on them. He's helped change the lives of hundreds of kids that would never have had the ability to know the game without him doing what he does. I know firsthand. He changed my life through baseball. I was one of those kids too. I was raised by a single mother who spent all her time working, so I had all the time in the world to get into mischief, which I usually did. I was a wild, feral kid for sure. I started playing baseball for him, and it gave me something else to do, something else to focus on. But he went so much further than that. He opened up his door to his home and helped raise me. He taught me how to work, how to act, and how to be a man. He instilled the desire to help people in me simply by leading by example. One of my dreams is to be able to take all that plastic and start recycling it into building materials and using that to build places for homeless people under overpasses. I would not be the person I am today if it wasn't for him. I've watched him help countless kids since me too. Kids who had nothing else. He gave them help and hope. Not all of us came from the rough side of the tracks by any means, and not all of us turned out okay. But I know he did all he could for every kid he coached. We formed bonds that have lasted a lifetime, and amazingly, most of our original team is still best friends, and we still all see each other regularly. His son eventually grew up, but Robbie single-handedly kept the Gravois baseball team alive since then. He does it all out of pocket, and for decades completely took care of the field himself, solely keeping the Gravois program alive. He didn't even have any kids or family on the team. He just did it for the kids and for the love of the sport. He changed the future of a lot of kids. He raised 4 amazing, great-hearted kids of his own as well. I personally couldn't thank him enough for everything he has done for me. I'm scared to think about what I would have been without him. And he does it all strictly out of the kindness of his heart. Our kids are now getting older, so it's come full circle, and he is now coaching the next generation. He has had all of Sam's boys on the team, along with my boys. I helped him coach Little League for my boys, but I also coached 2 teams of my own as well in a different league. It's a lot of stress and work helping coach multiple teams, but it's worth every second to know I'm helping the kids. I just hope I can accomplish a fraction of what he has. Those of us that know Robbie know how committed he is to his family, his friends, the environment, church, helping people, and baseball. Those of us that know him love him, but to the average person who sees him in the grocery store, they don't know that long, gray-bearded old man wearing a grubby, torn-up shirt and cut-off jeans is a true saint that has single-handedly changed the world. He has truly made this world a better place. From all of us that you have helped, and all of us that don't even know you're helping us by helping keep the planet clean, thank you for being you, Robbie Herrelson. So I've started a YouTube channel, and I'm interviewing people on philosophy. I think we need to stop being so divided in this world and try to start coming together for solutions. In order to do this, we need to sit down and accept others' perspectives. So I'm interviewing people to try and peacefully get a different perspective. We don't have to fight or argue. We can just hear someone else's side and accept it as their view and move on. Hopefully this will lead to us being able to sit down with our enemy in this world and work together to create peace. I really enjoy hearing other stories and points of view, and someone always has something extremely fascinating to share. This man has the best view on life that I know, so I figured he would be the best person to have as the first person I interview for the channel. So without further ado, here's my philosophy interview with Old Man Herrelson. The interview is at home plate of the Gravois baseball field, where we grew up spending most of our time, and where Old Man is in his element the most. All right, we're getting ready to ask some philosophical questions here. So where are you from and what's your occupation? What's your name?
My name's Rob Herrelson. I live in Gravois Mills, and I run the recycling center in Laurie.
All right. Now, what's your best talent in this world?
What?
What's your best talent? What are you best at in this world?
Probably basketball.
Basketball? All right. What's your dream in life?
My dream in life is to clean up the world with plastic. I'm on a plastic crusade right now, and I believe that the world needs cleaned up.
So when you say plastic crusade, what's that entail? I mean, why do you want to...
I'm talking only about household plastic. Water bottles, pop bottles, soap jugs, milk jugs, oil jugs, that kind of plastic that comes through the household.
Right.
And I would like to change the way that's being done right now. That is my dream in life.
Well, that's beautiful.
And that will clean up the world.
Yeah, that's beautiful. I see you do it firsthand every day when nobody else is doing it. You guys are the only ones around that do it, and I know that you wake up every day and you don't make any money off of it, and you did it for a long time, and now you're having a hard time to figure out where to get rid of it. And it is a major problem. I mean, the Great Pacific Trash Dump, the microplastics, I mean, there's just a never-ending supply of plastic in the world, and it seems to just go into everything. It doesn't seem to go anywhere, so I think you're definitely on a valiant course, and I appreciate everything you do. Thank you.
Well, I've been doing it 20 years now at a loss, and I'm in the plastic market. I understand the market, what it's worth, and 20 years ago, it was worth 20 cents a pound. It progressively went down, until it's to the point I can't even give it away. I'm talking about 500 to 700 pound bales. Nobody wants them. And I'm afraid that it's all going to the landfill. Of course, nobody will say that, but it looks like to me that's where all the plastic's going, and they're making plastic out of virgin resin instead of recycling the plastic. Recycling as a system has failed us anyway. You say, well, it works with aluminum can. Aluminum can is a metal. They recycled metal and reused metal back in the 1700s. It's nothing new. When they came up with the word recycling in the 60s and 70s, they were talking about paper, plastic, and glass. And there is no market for those three. So my assumption on recycling as a whole is the system has failed.
Minus steel and metals. So logically, you've seen this your whole life and lived this your whole life in a recycling center and been boots on the ground as possible as you can be. So logically, what do you think is something that would be biodegradable and go away to take the place of plastic, paper, and stuff like that? Do you think that would be better? Or?
We have to go back to paper and glass. Is what I told my guy that I've been taking my plastic to for 20 years. He said, "You're dreaming." And I think I'm dreaming too. What I think we ought to do, this is a lightweight cup. It works with soda pop, it works with beer. Why can't we make water bottles, soda bottles, and all of it out of lightweight aluminum? And aluminum actually recycles.
Yeah, no.
Where the rest of it don't.
That's a phenomenal idea, but I mean, I don't know, I haven't done the numbers, but I'm going to suspect that it has to do with corporations and that plastic is probably cheaper than aluminum and that they don't care.
It is, oh yes. The virgin resin is cheaper than going out and gathering up the plastic,
right,
and baling it and shipping it and breaking it down again and then getting it ready for the extruder. It's cheaper to make it out of virgin resin.
Which is terrible.
But
I'll never
this
stop
is the right way. Plastic is the wrong way because aluminum actually gets recycled.
That's fair. That's fair.
Paper cartons, maybe, but I'm not worried about paper and glass. Paper and glass don't hurt the environment. Paper rocks. I mean, you don't want to step on a broken bottle. I mean, it's bad for people, but it's not bad for the environment. Right. The worst thing about them is the plastic, and it's taken over.
Well, it's definitely a problem that we need to face. I know you want to try and do stuff politically. I'm more of the mindset of the free market, so I think that we should start trying to engineer plastic and recycling. You've got bales of it, 700-pound bales there. I think we need to start grinding it up and figuring out a way to put it into molds and form. I've been wanting to do like plywood except made out of plastic, or building materials and just building. We could even do stuff for the homeless or anything. We could build materials or use it somehow. I think there's a process that we just need to tinker with and start playing with. But I know you recently went to the Capitol. Did you have any luck talking up there to any politicians or anything about it? Or
they don't know what to do. They just kind of put their hands in the air and say, well, you need to change the mindset of the people. Well, that's not going to happen. We're too spoiled. We're not smart enough. Plastic is too big of a part of our life. So the mindset of the people is not going to change. What I need is government helping me change over to aluminum. Yeah. This is a cat food container. Cat food's figured it out. Yeah. Why couldn't you do this and put butter and the rest of all kinds? The tin cans. Tin cans are fine. Tin cans get recycled. Right. The steel cans. They're actually right. Steel cans. They get recycled, but they've always got recycled. That's metal. Right. They did that back in the 1700s. Right. But we've got to switch over. I feel, this is my feeling, we have to switch over to metal. Yeah.
And or biodegradable, one of the two. I know we can make it out of biodegradable hemp. So if it would just go away instead of going into the earth, and if it's made out of something natural like hemp, it would be phenomenal as well. So.
I think that is true in 50 years maybe, but right now it's too big a change.
Right. And
we
already
know how to make aluminum cans.
I mean, that makes
and
sense.
Aluminum cups. This is a cup. This is a cup. Aluminum cup.
Yeah.
We already know how to make them.
Yeah. No, that makes sense logically. I mean, it checks out, and it would be a long time to where we could do it with hemp, but I think we can adapt and change to anything. So
I really and truly believe hemp is the future.
Yeah, me too.
But it's going to take 50 years.
Yeah. I mean, we got to do something. We got to do something because what we're doing doesn't seem to be working the best. You know, I mean, the mathematical numbers of the plastic that's going to be here for tens of thousands of years, and the rate we're using it eventually, where the whole world's going to be covered in trash. It's just a mathematical equation of when. You know, whether it's
actually
100 years or 1,000 years or, you know, I mean, who knows?
It actually already is.
Yeah.
You go to third world countries, there's even in the Bahamas and some of the islands down through there, all the beach is nice and clean, but you get off on the side street, and there's plastic everywhere. And so it's pretty much everywhere right now. But the United States actually does a better job of keeping it clean than some of the third world countries. But the third world countries they're just ravishing the plastic. It's just everything's in plastic, and there's no trash pickup. So what do you think they do with it?
Yeah,
they put it on the ground. They throw it on the ground and smash it down.
It's terrible.
My preacher, the preacher at my church, went over there on a mission trip, and she said that everybody was drinking water bottles, and I said, well, what'd they do with them? And they said, she just stole them down. They stole them down. And I said, well, they were just walking on plastic then, wasn't they? And she said, yeah, pretty much. Yeah, they were just walking on plastic.
It's heartbreaking. That's heartbreaking.
This was in Haiti.
Right.
And that's the poorest country in the world. But
right.
that is an extreme.
Right.
But
it's not any better. It's not like it's, yeah, I mean, it's a plague. It's plaguing all mankind everywhere. It's not just us here in America. Well, you mentioned that you went to the Bahamas and you've been to a lot of awesome places. If you could go to anywhere in the whole world, where would you want to go?
I think my favorite places is the southern Bahamas, not the northern Bahamas. They're too crowded.
But even if you could go somewhere else, if you could pick anywhere in the world that you haven't been yet, where do you think?
Probably the Philippines.
The Philippines? Have you never been there?
Never been there.
Oh yeah.
You can rent a house on the beach for like $100 a week, and soda pop's 10 cents.
Well, I know.
But the Philippines, there's a lot of islands too, and some of the outer islands you can get secluded. I don't like to go where there's a lot of people. I don't like a lot of people.
I know you travel smarter than anybody. I don't know if I should be telling your secrets here, but you get license plates in one state, and then you go to a different state and sell them at the swamps there.
Well, I travel. I'm a traveling license plate buyer, seller, trader, and nobody has ever heard of a profession like that. And one guy asked me, said, "Does some people think you're retarded?" And I said, "All the time."
Well, I think you're a genius because you go to New York and you get the plates in New York, and then you upsell them to California because they don't have New York plates, and then you take, or wherever you go, and you just change around and you make money off selling the plates, and you travel for free. I've literally off nothing but selling plates. I think it's genius. I think it's beautiful.
The thing that makes me sad on these trips is the interstates and not the side roads too much because it's farm country a lot, but the interstates are just covered with plastic, just everywhere. It's just I don't really want to get back to plastic, but it's
a plague.
That is kind of what we're talking about today.
Right.
Is the plastic situation.
Right. But yeah, no.
The southern Bahamas, I think, are the prettiest.
Right. And you drove to Costa...
Yes, Virgin Islands are nice, too.
You drove to Costa Rica? Now, that would have had to have been a heck of a trip. I know I've told some people, and I didn't even do the trip, but I've told friends, and they're like, that's insane. They didn't drive to Costa Rica, but you drove down there, didn't you?
I drove an old truck to Galveston, Texas, and blew it up. We put a motor in it in Galveston, Texas, right beside the road, me and all my kids. And then the two oldest kids and they jumped in the truck and took off and went through 7 countries. That's 14 borders without speaking English and no maps. We just followed.
In a truck, you just put the engine in.
We followed the sun. But we did pick up a guy that spoke English from Ireland, or spoke Spanish from Ireland, and he got us to a couple borders.
Did you get hassled at all through there? Or?
No.
It was just a straight trip down?
No, this was in, what year was it? 2002 to 2003, something like that.
Right.
Oh, it was beautiful.
That's
it was
amazing.
Beautiful. There was no Fred Riales, nobody.
And you just
hassled us.
loaded up the truck with stuff. I remember you do junk runs and got paid to haul off trash, so you'd take the good stuff off those, and you had the truck loaded up. And I remember you said you traded stuff all the way down, and that's how you got down there.
We had a garage sale. We had a garage sale on the beach in southern Mexico.
No way.
And sold everything in the camper.
Oh, no way.
Yeah.
Oh, that's freaking hilarious.
And my daughter kept trading stuff for beads and bangles and stuff. And I told her, I said, we need pesos.
Yeah. I can see that. Oh, that's funny. That's funny. Well, if you had one superpower in the world, what would it be and why?
Superpower?
Yeah, if you had one superpower, any superpower, from something normal to something crazy, anything you could do in the world, if you had a superpower, what would it be?
I'd hate to go back to plastic, but it would be to clean up the world.
It's a good thing.
With the plastic, I think that's the only superpower I have, and I do think I possess that power.
So you don't even need it. Maybe where you could snap your fingers and just wipe off plastic off the earth. Maybe that would be a superpower that you wish you could have.
Yeah.
Or you could just magically snap your fingers and wipe plastic off.
Yeah, and maybe get a couple more kids for my little league team. I've only got 8 kids now on my little league team, and I need a couple kids. So if anybody out there has got a kid, call me. My number's 549. BR 549.
Well, I know you've done a lot for this community, and that's where we're at right here is the baseball field. And you've done a lot for me in my life, and I've seen you do a lot for countless kids. You coached us when we were little, and then we grew up and went away and did our own things. And the whole time you sat down here and coached kids without even a kid, just because you love the community. And it's just a small town here, and I really cannot thank you enough for all that you've done for everyone and for me. And you're just a great human, and I really appreciate all you've done for everyone. And and now you're back to coaching. Now we got kids, so now you're coaching grandkids, which is awesome. So it's come back around.
Oh yeah, I'm coaching a whole new generation now.
Yeah,
of kids that I coach their parents.
Yeah, I know. We see all the same parents, and it's just like growing up right back here again. Mm-hmm. It's pretty neat. So, what's the most unexplained event that you've ever seen or had in your life? Whether it's a ghost or an alien or chupacabra or Loch Ness monster. What's the craziest, most unexplained thing that you've seen and went?
Well, I know exactly.
I don't know how to explain that.
Oh, I know exactly what it is.
What is that? the camera?
The phone.
The phone?
The phone.
Yeah.
The most amazing thing. What I say is there was a wheel, and then there was a phone. Everything in between is simple.
Yeah.
That's the most amazing thing I've seen in my life is this phone, and what it can do, and the information that exists on it. And nothing surprises me anymore. Nothing amazes me. Nothing after seeing what this can do.
Well, that's a pretty deep thought. That's a pretty deep thought. But
it's
yeah, that's right.
It's almost too much information.
It is. It's a lot. It's a lot to take in. The world's at our hands for sure. I thought you might say something else like, I know when I was a kid, I never got to go down there with you guys, but you said down there by Joplin, there was this light that would float around that you guys called the spook light.
Yeah.
And it would come, and you'd be out on a gravel road or a road out in the middle of nowhere, and all of a sudden this light would show up and just go darting all around all crazy. And I've done a lot of research, and there's a lot of research in it. They even have it in the movie Cars, because in the movie Cars, they went down Route 66, and they found that down there in Joplin, and they put a little glimmer in it in the movie Cars. But so you've seen the spook light, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Where's it at?
It's down between Joplin and Miami, Oklahoma, and out on a dirt road. You got to get out on a dirt road. And my philosophy is on that. I think it's a natural gas leak somewhere coming out of the earth, a crack somewhere in the earth, because there's got to be an explanation for it. They say it's an Indian that lost his arm out looking for his arm with a torch.
How big is it?
it gets bright. It gets bright and dim. It gets bright and dim.
But, I mean, like
This
big or the size of a house?
No, it looks like a headlight of a car.
Just that size?
And they don't get much closer. They don't get much closer than that. I mean, much closer than the length of a football field. Maybe half the length of a football field is the closest I've ever seen it. And then somebody makes a noise or something, it just disappears.
It makes a noise. It reacts to. That's insane. Well, how could gases react to a noise? That doesn't make sense. I don't understand.
I don't know.
I don't know. Yeah, that's unexplained. Do you know the name of the road?
No.
I'll look it up. I'll find it up.
There's a place out there called Spookies.
Oh, is there?
Yeah.
It's close by to it. I bet they'll know.
They got
so Spookies and you know what town it is?
Souvenirs and stuff.
Between Miami and Joplin.
Between Miami and Joplin out there, and there is no town around there.
Right.
But there is a little convenience store, and they sell trinkets and souvenirs and stuff called Spookies.
Well, I guess we could go on to the next question. We kind of already touched on this. I think I know what your answer might be, but what's one thing to help the world that you would do?
Change over to aluminum instead of plastic.
There you go.
And I think it's coming. I really do. I think it's coming. But change takes a lot. Change comes slow. It takes a lot of time to convince people how the right way.
Right. Or a different way of doing things, you know. Mm-hmm. I mean, right and wrong is subjective, but I think the polluting the world is definitely a wrong.
Especially when it costs them.
Right.
It costs more to make aluminum than it does plastic.
Right. So it's just figuring out how to get to that point for sure. So what are your thoughts on the federal government?
I'm not much on government. I don't like immigrants coming in like they are. But
the federal government itself, what do you think about the federal?
I think it's all right.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm a U.S. citizen. I love this country.
Well, there's a difference between loving the country and loving the federal government. The federal government, I personally feel they're a bunch of crooks, but there's just I don't. Do you think the federal government's headed down a good course or a bad course?
I would say neutral. I'm going to stay neutral on that.
That's fair. You can always say I pass on these questions as well, so you don't have to answer them. So
I do know this. This is one thing that I do know about this country is we have the best living conditions in the world. On welfare, you have it better than most countries do that got businesses and stuff.
Yeah.
Prisoners have got it made in this country.
Right. We do have the highest prison population on the entire planet, more than the next 2 countries combined. I think more than like the next 5 countries combined. And I don't know. That's just, but you're right. Our prisoners do have it nicer than other countries, because I've heard of conditions in other countries and it's not good. And we do have it good here.
That's we the people taking care of that. That's not the government really. I mean, the government takes care of our roads and stuff, but they also send airplanes to the sky dropping all kinds of poisons on us.
Right.
And there's 5,000 flights a day flying over the United States. That isn't.
I've seen where they.
That's mind blowing. That's one thing. That might be the thing that I most surprising thing I've seen in my life. There's 5,000 planes flying over the United States in one day.
Right. I know we could test mountains on top of mountains where it's fresh, beautiful snow, and they test and it's like full of jet fuel. Yeah. And it's just like where there should be just beautiful, pristine, like, oh, this is the best snow I could ever have and eat. You eat it and you get sick because it's jet fuel, because it's closer up there. But yeah. So where do you feel we came from?
I feel that God created at least a living cell. As a scientist, I've got a college degree in biology and general science, and as a scientist, I believe that God created the living cell. I do believe in what do you call it when you evolve?
Evolution?
Evolution, yeah. I believe in evolution. I do believe in evolution because it's a proven fact that the living cell is too complicated just to come together at the bottom of sulfur springs in the ocean somewhere. That's kind of the philosophy of science. We could have come from outer space. It could have come in on a meteor, but as far as the living cell goes, I actually believe, I really do in my heart believe that God created it. But I'm a Christian, and I choose to believe. So I.
That's a different perspective. The cell, breaking it down beyond everything else. That's really awesome. That's a beautiful perspective, and I really appreciate that. That's awesome. I've never heard of it from that perspective, but that logically makes sense.
Well, I do believe that we evolved from that, but it's just.
It's where it started. I mean, kind of where
there's too much going on. There's too much going on in a living cell, and there's a word for that called quarks. They're quarks. That is something that we haven't believed, because every action is caused by something else.
Right.
Even in the micro world. But a quirk is something that we don't understand. It's beyond our education.
Right. Well, that's awesome. That's awesome. So what do you feel the meaning of life is?
Helping people, getting out there and working hard, staying in shape.
Well, you practice what you preach, because I've seen you your entire life, and that's all you do is help people. You are a saint. You've helped more people in my life. I've seen whether they're kids or adults, or I mean all kinds of people from every walk of life. That's what you do. And as far as staying in shape, that's you eat, breathe, and live that. How many miles a day do you ride a bike?
I ride about 10 miles a week now.
And how old are you?
79.
79, and you ride 10 miles a week.
Yeah, sometimes I'll get 15. I should be riding right now.
I ride an electric bike with you, and I cheat. And I feel so bad, because here you are out keeping up with me and Luke, my boy who's 15, and he's
I couldn't keep up with him.
Well, you guys are pretty close, especially the first those 7 or 8 miles. You guys are right there. It's amazing. And then
we were talking about the Katy Trail. We all went riding on the Katy Trail.
Yeah, it was great. That was a great ride. It's a beautiful, beautiful trip. That's the most epic bike ride I've ever been on. It's just such a beautiful ride. It'd be cool to do the whole ride. It goes from all the way across Missouri, from Kansas City to St. Louis, I think.
Ricky, like yeah, a friend of mine used to do it. But
was it the old Lewis and Clark trail?
I'd meet him on the trail and ride 20 miles out and 20 miles back, and he'd go on.
Right.
That was fun. Right along the river. It's really pretty.
Well, I guess it's down to the last question. What's the best piece of advice you'd give to everybody out there?
When you get a chance to coach baseball, coach.
That's a lot of fun. It's a thrill for sure.
You've done it too.
Oh yeah. I went from helping you and coach my kids, and oh man, it's such a rush. It's so much fun.
Well, things are loosening up a little bit in the school system now, but used to you had to be a teacher to be a coach.
Right.
But now they're loosening up because there's a shortage of teachers, and they're letting parents coach too.
It seems like there's a shortage.
If you get a chance to coach, take advantage of it, because it's fulfilling.
It is. It seems like there's a shortage all around of coaches and even kids that want to play. It seems like, I don't know, it was a lot more popular when we were kids, you know.
Well, you got soccer now, and you got summer basketball leagues. When I grew up, there wasn't nothing but baseball. Right. That's all we did in the summertime. We played baseball, and it's just harder and harder to get a team every year. Like I say, right now we've got 8 kids.
Well, I know some of the best memories of my life are right here on this field playing baseball with you, and I can't thank you enough for everything you've done in my life and for everybody. It's just for what you've done for this community and for the planet. You're just a...
And